Hello, dear humanity. Welcome to Human Thesaurus Podcast. I'm your host / contemplative wish Ronquillo Peacock. Keiran Miller is a professional coach and a leader in business architecture that address traditional and emerging challenges across justice departments, law enforcement, intelligence, and border security fields. He was previously an executive leader with Australian Federal Police based in United Kingdom. I met him through my former job in Australia. We used to work together with a lot of projects. And I was kind of drawn to him because there's this sturdy man with a very wise insight about everything. And you're like, wow, okay. And then I was having some difficulties, with some things I need to deal with, professionally. So I kind of approached him and asked for his advice. And true enough, he gave me very, very sound advice. And from then on, we catch up a lot over coffee and donuts and talk about everything. And he became a very dear friend of mine. And I really miss him because I really love those regular times when we keep each other sane at work. And yeah, so even though I moved away from Australia, we're still pretty much close friends, and I love that we're pretty much in touch all the time. So my synonyms for him are captain as a noun, beholding as a verb, and sagacious as an adjective. So here I am presenting to you Keiran Miller.
I do it a little bit different. So my name is Keiran, which is it's an Irish name, and it sort of sounds the same as an adjective of Shakespearean. I gave this a bit of thought, and Shakespeare as the noun, of course, and that Shakespeare was a type of guy. Whilst I'm sort of not really into Shakespeare, but I do aspire to be someone who's a bit like him and a bit out there. So that's why I've chosen that. And same as, and if you look at the verb, one of the Shakespearean words for a verb is soth, which is says. And I like to talk a lot, and I like to be involved in a lot with people. I like the word authentic. I think it's a great word, and it's one of my favourite words and what I look for in a lot of people. And I really dislike the word hate. It's my not go-to word. I think it's a terrible word. Should be banned. But anyway, that's me as an introduction. Wish, great to be here, and great to be talking to you again.
Thank you so much for that. That is fantastic. The funny thing is that everybody dislikes the word hate, at least the people that I keep. It's very consistent.
It's a I don't know, I like short, sharp words. Like my kids' names are all short and sharp and strong and powerful. And I do like that. It's in words and names. But there's something about that word hate that just pierces by. And I think it's, when you say it or think it, or you see people say it or think it, it's a really piercing word. It goes to the heart of, and it can hurt a lot of people. So I think it's a pretty ordinary word.
Yeah, I agree with that. It really changes. I think all the words that we choose in our everyday lives make a lot of impact with our moods. There are just certain words that you have to be careful using because it's loaded. It has a power over people. So, nowadays there are lots of more exposure for misinformation because there are lots of platforms that give you that. So it's very interesting how hopefully this will, at least this kind of podcast will make people aware of how words really affect humans. So that's part of the intention.
I think it's something that I've been fortunate about. I worked with government for, as you say in your introduction, for 28 years in the federal police, which was a great organisation and a great career. And I had an amazing experience on a lot of things. But coming out of that and moving into the commercial world and working with a big consultancy company for the last 8 years, all of a sudden you do need to be really careful about what you say and how you say it.
Yeah.
Really careful. And sometimes now I'm so conscious about it. Like I might be introducing people or doing something in a meeting, and I might just say something inadvertently, like that I haven't got my thinking cap on, and I scold myself now. I say, "Oh, Keiran, this is I'm better than this." But I'm very, very conscious about your word selection and how you are to people, because there is absolutely zero tolerance for anything like that, and so there should be in the workforce. Not to say that I didn't have that zero tolerance working in the federal police, but I was probably less concerned about it back then, compared to where I am at the moment, and it's a big part of my thinking.
Right. But don't you think that there's also a thin line between, there are lots of appropriateness that we have to be aware about nowadays, like how you say things, right? But
totally.
don't you think that there's still a thin line between just being overly sensitive, or in not being yourself in such a way that you're mincing too much? Like, is it more stressful in some ways?
You're probably right. Actually, it is more stressful. And yes, getting to the true, authentic people, or the truthfulness about how people feel is sometimes a little bit harder. But look, I think you can manage it, and it's as I said in my introduction, I do believe in the word authentic. And anything associated with sort of credibility of people, I think you've got to present who you are as best you can.
Yes.
Wherever possible, and you can do that, I think, equally as well by just, keeping your words in check correctly. Like sometimes, in my mind, sometimes I can swear, like I can swear. And I think a lot of people can, but I've sort of got to the point now where, I train myself not to actually say some of those words, which is, I think, is a step forward.
Oh my gosh, you're way so much better than me. I'm a very expressive person. So, I mean, you're always been wise and you taught me a lot dealing with, let's say, politics or interesting people, interesting colleagues on how to really deliberate in your head so that it will come out as properly as you could to get a strong message across.
Well, it's thanks for that, and it is life's greatest challenge, really, when you think about it, and I do, as you know, I do a lot of public speaking.
Yes.
And one of the things that I talk to people about, and I ask them a question, is why do we talk? And it's a really good question to ask people.
Yeah.
Why do you talk? And some people sort of think about that. Oh, well, we just want to communicate with people. We want to have a conversation. I said, no. There's got to be something that you're trying to do as to the reasons why you talk. So, why am I here talking to you now? Is, and I keep bringing this back, I think is because we want to influence the situation. We want to express our viewpoint into something. We want that person who I'm talking to walk away from the conversation that I'm having, right, and going, oh, wow, there's some value in what that person says. And I think we do that. We understate that a lot, but it's one of the main reasons why we do communicate.
Right.
So, and I think then, bringing back to your point of, sitting down and talking through and dealing with people, and, of course, I do think it is one of life's greatest challenges is how do we engage others, whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, whether you're, have certain qualities or things about you, you want to try and gain that influence over that particular person. And everyone can. Everyone can.
Yep.
You've just got to learn certain tools in your social skills repertoire that can do it. For example, I talked a lot about introverts. A lot of introverts feel quite overwhelmed when they're talking particularly to an extrovert, and let's be honest about it, the alpha male in the room, particularly in government, that I've seen can dominate a situation.
Yes.
And a lot of people in that room don't even get a say.
Yes.
Right? They can't even get a foot into the conversation. And I've seen this time and time again. And it's an absolute shame because every single person has got something to offer. Every single person has got something to offer. So how you do it is you can direct a conversation by asking the right question.
Yes.
Right. Play to the strengths of that other person because they like to talk. But actually, if you're good enough to come up with the right question, you can get that person to start thinking about a space that perhaps they haven't quite thought of. And they might start to even, with a bit of luck, fall on their sword if you do it correctly. And I've seen this again. So just by asking a simple couple of questions as an introvert, you've changed the whole direction of the conversation.
Beautiful.
And you've gained a lot more influence in a situation, and you haven't had to dominate the conversation at all. So little skills like that, I think, are important in developing in people to fight that, greatest challenge that we all have in life in dealing with others.
But that's for the wise. I think some people will get to that point because I always think that the entire communication skill is really a craft. And I think it's overlooked when you see, for example, resumes, right? When you see a profile of a person, if you put there good communication skills. And I think people take that for granted, or even the people who are admitting that they've got good communication skills. They don't know the chunk of what they're saying. Again, this is power.
Yeah, but it's a skill which we can all learn.
Yes.
It's sure some people are better at it than others. I get that, but we can all learn with a bit of support and help to make that happen. A bit of self-reflection, and it's about backing yourself with a little bit of confidence to be able to say, "I can do this." And when we talk about, we are good communicators, what does that really mean?
Exactly.
It means, in my view, does that person have influence? Have you changed the thinking of other people?
Yeah. So I think this is this is learned, and this is a craft, and it's something to be taken seriously because yes, it's about, I call a lot of people hot air because there's just all talk, right? And then there's they don't influence you, they don't convince you, and all the more that you don't trust them by them opening their mouths. And I've been hypercritical about this, and as you know, and all the more that you meet more people, all the more that you get more critical about what someone has to say. But the beautiful part about all of these, right, is even though some people can't have, they really don't have influence or anything to say, but just full of hot air, is that you learn from them as well of what not to be.
What not to say.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. I have this little formula in my head
Okay.
that I do share with some people, and it's VV equals CHT. All right.
Mm,
So VV equals CHT. So VV is what I call volunteering some vulnerability. Okay. So
mm,
people are prepared to zipper themselves open a little bit
mm,
and share some of those sort of little hidden secrets. Not too much, but enough.
mm,
Okay. You're not going to sort of completely open you up and sort of that. But when you're talking to someone that's prepared to sort of say, oh, well, you know what, I'm not that good at this. You know, I feel sometimes I'm, you know, not as confident here in this particular space
mm,
or something or other. But when you do that, what it buys you in the conversation, it buys you a thing called credibility.
yes.
And you can tell someone immediately when you're talking to them whether they're credible or not,
Right.
right? Because they're prepared to do that, right? And it takes a bit of courage and guts to volunteer this vulnerability.
True. Yep.
So, you know, brings a credibility. And once you've got that credibility, the H on the other side is honest. You
Mm,
know that person is honest
mm,
in their approach. And you can then take the T, which is the final word, which is trust.
yes.
And you build trust between the person you're talking to and yourself.
Mm,
You know, you can climb mountains together.
yes.
And because that's what we all aim to do. We all want trust in our conversations. You know, you and me, Wish, you spoke about at the start, you know, where we went and had some donuts and, you know, shared each other's. We had trust in our conversation.
Yes.
And, you know, we trusted each other to knowing it's between you and me. And that was it, you know, and we
Yes.
were having influence on each other. And as a result, you're able to take away, and I'm able to take away some of those learnings we had in those conversations and do something about it. And that's a fantastic thing to aim for in any dialogue that you might have with a particular person. We all should aim to get that trust.
Absolutely.
Anyway, my little formula in life.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. It's pretty much similar to mine, but I love yours because it's really like a formula. Like there's a particular VV is equals to CHT. I love that because for me it's really more of just being yourself and not putting up a facade or whatsoever. A lot of people go to a crowd. For example, it's a huge deal networking event and it's your first time there and probably you don't know anyone. When you enter, just present that, if that's the beautiful part of being in there, because you can also test people the other way if you're gonna gel or not. So it's just tiring to put up a facade. So it's really more of being authentically you, presenting that person who you really are. And then that will be equivalent to the right people will gel with you rather than faking it that entire time. It's just exhausting. It's like, how can you live your entire life sustaining that exhaustion of not being you?
Well, it's, you know, when you do this exercise though, what you're doing is you're picking your team, aren't you? You're picking your team of people that you want around you. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at people and you've got this, you know, trust that you've developed, you go, I want you on my team. Now, whether it's a team of people that you're putting together at work, right?
Yes.
A team of close network of people that you want around you in your life
Mm.
or in your life, you know, being your partner or anything else. And,
Yep.
you know, that's your team of people that you
Your
want.
tribe.
And you need a team. You know,
Yes.
you can't do this by yourself.
Yes.
So it's really important to get it right.
Yes. I just remembered now while you're saying that, like, you need that team. I think now you asked me earlier before we went on recording how I am. And There's a massive realization for me last weekend because I started to see more and more of my friends that I know for a long time. And
Yeah.
one of the things that just reminded me of being back here and hanging out with some of them is how much they know me enough that and my qualities that I've forgotten about myself, and how much encouraging they are with a lot
Oh,
of the
good.
things that I'm thinking about. And I've got a lot of ideas, but sometimes they're all in my head and they're just sitting there. And probably I'm just waiting for the right time to get that gumption that, yeah, it's justified. And then there's this group of people who believe in you, and they just encourage you because they know you're capable of them. And then that's a good push for me that last weekend there are 4 ideas that came out of it. Those 4 ideas has been sitting in my head, and I kind of verbalized it for the first time because I was even afraid of putting that on paper. And now, because of those people around me that I haven't seen in a long time, they just reminded me how much valuable the team that I've built for myself in Singapore is. I mean, they're all blessings to me, but they really helped me justify what I wanted to do next, like this podcast. So it's so encouraging, endearing, and at the same time, you just realize a lot that okay, this is one of the biggest reason why my life, why the universe put me back to Singapore.
That's beautiful. And I think, look, Wish, I've known this a lot, saw this right within you. You're a fighter, and you're an artist as well. And you're always going to have great ideas. So you're not one to sit on your laurels. You're not one to sit back. You're going to come out with stuff. You're going to give stuff a go, which is just a highly admirable quality about you. So, I think you're fantastic in doing these things and giving things a go. It's really terrific, and you have been very blessed with your life. And I think whilst you had a setback in the company that you're working with where we meet, but I think that has been a blessing in disguise. It's probably the best thing that could have happened to you. And
Absolutely. Um,
yeah,
that I mean, that's why I never regret anything at all in life because they have to happen for us to get to where we are. So,
yeah,
I mean, I'm so grateful of Australia, of being in Australia for the time that I was there, for meeting people like you that you will keep forever, that see right through me, and it's beyond what you can ask for in this entire lifetime. That before I had an accident. I almost died when I was young. And I know for a fact that you feel like it's going to be your last breath and everything replays back in your head. Like, the hits, the best hits of your life just it keeps coming back to you, like in this mosaic form. And you're like, okay, so this entire lifetime, if I'm going to take my last breath, I've got so much in that life reel that's going to play back that I'm going to be smiling until my last breath.
that's an admirable trait, Wish. You're fantastic, and it's great to hear that you're in this space now. So I'm really pleased for you.
You've always been there, and you've been very, very supportive. It's fantastic. But for me, my job right now is to keep on forcing, not force, keep on motivating you and pushing you also, because you're such a great coach, mentor, and a friend, that and that's your passion as well, leading people towards the right path to where they wanted to be. So when will that happen? Like, really, really full-time professional coach extraordinaire.
Well, yeah. Look, I do really like, one of the great things that I think I've missed out on my career. There's a couple of things, in my life. And, um, you know, I said earlier that every single person in the room has got something to offer.
Yes.
And I've seen this firsthand with the work that I'm doing at the moment and working for this company, that really, I on the whole genuinely respects the the people in the room for what you've got, and if you're a genuine person, you will make this happen. So, giving people the confidence and the support and the help to be able to live out their potential is something that I'm quite passionate about.
Yes.
And I see so many people just coming through that are just hungry for that.
Yeah.
They just soak it all up. They don't want to be CEOs, but they just want to live their life to the full, and they just want to learn, and they want to grow, and they want to thrive. And helping people do that is something that I think I've got a bit of a skill that I can do that. I think I can connect with people and see through a little bit beyond sometimes what might be driving or how people are there. And it's absolutely fantastic when you're talking to someone
Yes.
and you ask them a question and they stop and they just look at you and they're going, oh my God, I haven't thought about that, and you've just opened up the Pandora's box for them.
Yes.
And I love to help people do that. So you're right. It's look, I do that, very casually, I suppose, with a lot of people, and I've done that. I'm still continuing to do it and developing my skills. My time has to be that I have to get my formal qualifications.
Yes.
And go into this. And I have researched a lot, and I've looked at it, and it will happen, Wish. It's called time and time management. I know it is priorities. I get all of that. And I know you're pushing me.
I've been waiting for you for years.
I know, and it's going to happen. I will give you an undertaking, okay? 2022, it will happen.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
And you can even give me a timeline in 2022. But because I think you got to do about 75 hours of coaching, and I can pretty well come up with most of that anyway. But it's about spending, I don't know, a few $1,000 and going away and doing your qualification and look, at least sort of being able to put this beside your name. So then you can actually start to build a business. And formalize a lot of these processes, but it's something that I definitely want to be able to take forward, and it's plan B or C or D away from this madness of working in a commercial world on what I do at the moment.
Okay, I'm going to give you by September 2022.
Okay.
You have the license to operate.
Righto. So my birthday is the 25th of September. So
I know.
So it's got to happen before then.
Yes.
That's right, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not even strict. I'm even giving you till September.
Wish is going to fly over and...
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to fly over and I'm going to do your event, your launch event.
Righto. September 25th, 2022.
Okay, I'm going to write that
Keiran Miller
down.
will be a professional.
Yes.
He's going to be a professional coach.
So, wow, this is marvelous, really, as usual. So for all our listeners, really, this is a normal conversation between me and Keiran. So, yeah, you're just eavesdropping pretty well here. After that, getting COVID and all, are you back to your hobbies? And can you tell us more about, your spear fishing and love of the water?
Yeah, no, look, I haven't done as much. The weather has been pretty ordinary in Australia over the Christmas break. We've had a lot of rain, and it's like at the moment it's just overcast and blowing a gale. So I haven't been in the water as much, and it's another little objective of mine to I'm going to join a club hopefully shortly and do a bit more of that, because I do love getting in the water. I've always loved getting in the water, and it's I don't know. I have a pretty stressful career and pretty stressful job, and there's a lot of time needs to go into it. But I have taken the objective this year to really work on my health and well-being, and I'm doing that at the moment. I've actually just been to the doctor this afternoon, and she was just like, we just did a blood test and a few other tests, and she just sort of went, "Wow, Keiran, that's amazing compared to where I was last year."
Wow.
So that's all ticking really well at the moment. Still got to lose a bit of weight, but I'm getting there with that. And I'm just taking more time for myself, not only in my physical health and everything else, but I'm getting back into my public speaking, which is also really, I think, really, really important and helped change a lot of my life is public speaking. So doing that, and it's giving me just a renewed, more enthusiasm, I suppose, is what I'm saying. Particularly also just changing up my physical activities, with the gym and everything else, doing something different, and it's being really positive. I love the water, and I love getting into the water, and it's one way of sort of reducing a lot of that stress, because when you're under the water, not on top of the water, under the water, I don't know, you just it takes me into a different state as a human. So I've always loved that, and I do have been doing a lot of spearfishing with my son and his wife. But it's not so much about going out and the fishing part of getting a fish. We are incredibly selective about what fish we take, and I think it's a very sustainable form of fishing.
Yes.
Because you can see what you're catching, so you can select not only the right size of the fish, but the right fish as well.
Wow.
And I think that's, we go a lot of times, we go spearfishing and we come back empty-handed because the right fish has not been there.
Right.
But we've enjoyed it. It's great to get in the water, and even better now because my son has bought a boat.
Oh, really?
And, my son and my wife, I should say, and his wife bought a boat. Just a small runabout boat. The best boat in the world is someone else's boat. Right.
Oh, I love that quote. That is so accurate.
So I don't have to worry about it, and but he loves, and both my son and his wife, they love that boat and love getting out in it. So I'm very happy to support them with that.
Oh, hell yes.
It's good. Really, really enjoy that side of life. I just would love to be able to do more of it, of course, and spend more time in it. But I've always been one for water. I've done spearfishing, but also a lot of scuba diving in my life, a lot of snorkeling. We used to run trips up to the Barrier Reef and camp on some of the islands up there, and all of that sort of thing. So water has been, I've done a lot of sailing, a lot of windsurfing. Water's just been a big part of my life. I've even recently bought a surfboard. Now, I've never surfed in my life, never surfed. But I went out and bought this big 10-foot mal.
Wow. Right? Well, you're tall anyway.
And I'm tall, but it was like, I'm just going to learn to surf now.
Yes.
I'm really bad at it. I'm really bad. Like I took it away at Christmas time, and I've only really had a couple of goes, and I wasn't very good, and the weather was really bad. But it's one of my objectives in life again, is to be, I don't want to be this outrageous surfer, but I think I need to surf. I need to be able to stand on a board and ride a wave as again a little life objective for me to be able to do. My wife keeps telling me it's a midlife crisis. Maybe it is, but I'm okay with that. I haven't gone and bought the sports car yet or anything else, but just a $300 board, that's fine at the moment. If that's what it cost me for a midlife crisis, I'm happy with that.
Right? Yeah. And I always encourage people, when you hear yourself say, I need to do this, not I want to do this. It's a subconscious thing. When you say, I need to do this, then it's going to fulfill your soul. So it's because it's coming from the inside. It's coming from your soul. So that's what your soul is craving for. So in your, love of water, you've done a lot, and a part of this is surfing. And again, there are lots of life lessons that you can kind of combine and use terminologies of surfing and water, and life in the water. So yeah, it's, you said you need to do this. So yes, please. That's part of your water baby talent, pretty much. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
You're totally right.
I'm listing all of these down because I've got to like keep tabs. I will be following up with all of these objectives that you're meeting them this year.
Yes. No, well, I'm happy with that. That's really good, and I definitely need to do it. And it's all part of your own sort of. It's part of your own mental health.
Yes.
I think, and our lives are overtaken a lot with work. Lives are overtaken a lot with our families, and spending that little bit of time for yourself, giving yourselves these little bit of objectives in life to do things, I think are really valuable, and keep you sane, really, and keep you fresh in your life, and keep really what it's doing. It's driving that, I guess, aptitude of learning that you've got to have in your life. Which every day you've got to get up and you've got to think, what am I going to do today? What am I going to learn? Where am I going to grow as a person?
Yes.
And and I love the water, and I've always looked at surfing, and I've gone, you know what, I want to do that.
Yes.
I've got another one. I want to be able to. I did as a kid. I learned the piano. One day when I retire, not this year.
Okay.
But that piano is getting another workout at some point. Okay, so
I'll write that down too.
That's on the list. That's on the list when I have more time.
Yes. So that's in the back burner because we have a few goals for you this year. And probably you're going to appear again as my guest probably after a few seasons, because we're going to have to keep tabs and see your status with all of these that you need to do.
Well, thank you. This is almost like my coaching session, isn't it?
Okay, I'm going to charge you as well. So just PayPal me later.
Yeah. Send me the bill. Okay, send me the bill. Yes.
This is wonderful, wonderful. So now in closing, I would like to ask you, what's the word or phrase that you want to impart to our listeners? And you can expound on it.
So the word or phrase that I want to, I've sort of given you the one around my volunteer vulnerability, but I'll give you another one, which was, and I was thinking about this just recently. Look forward. Sorry, I need to put it in context because I gave a speech the other day. The speech was likening myself to a bit of an icebreaker. And these icebreakers that you have as a ship, they've got these thick skins and they've got these built-up engines and they've got really good crews on board.
Yep.
And I was sort of likening my life to, it was an analogy towards the life breaker. And if you think about these icebreakers as they break through this ice, right, and they sort of leave this path behind them. And if you're the type of person that is looking at the path behind you, well, you're in trouble.
Right.
Right. You really are in trouble because you might be that person saying, oh, look at my path. Isn't it amazing?
Right.
I think the actual path is ahead. It's what you're about to break into. And unless you're breaking into something, unless you're crunching that big bit of ice, right, you're missing out on life. And what's the journey of this icebreaker?
Right.
It's to get to the other side of the ice. And when you've got to the other side, go and find some more ice.
Yes. Find some more ice to break. Oh, I love.
Absolutely. So that's my analogy now of the icebreaker.
Oh, wow. This is so wonderful. This is, you always just motivate my mind with so many more ideas and really just like keeping me grounded too. This is wonderful, Kieran. You're awesome.
Oh,
Just
thanks,
for
Wish.
everybody to know. I just needed to say that.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for hanging
Well,
out with me.
that's all right. Thank you, Wish. Good luck with the show. I hope it's great, and it's just amazing to see you're doing this. And I'm again, thank you for the opportunity to talk to you. But I definitely want to see you thrive in this program, and I'd love to come back and talk at some stage about you keeping me in check on my objectives in life.
From this episode, one of the most important words about life is icebreaker. This time, it is not in its literal meaning, but for its metaphorical state. It is breaking through the glacier of challenges you see in front of you and keep going. It's similar to words like breakthrough, advancement, leap, forward. Marshall McLuhan, a Canadian philosopher, quoted, "Any breakdown is breakthrough." In life, we are always curious and we wanted to put our best foot forward. I just hope that you can reflect on your past, but keep on looking forward and just go for it. Life is too short. I hope you love eavesdropping. You should start thinking about your synonyms. What are they? Thank you for listening to Human Thesaurus Podcast. Please rate and subscribe. Your support means a great deal. Join me again next week for another episode. I'm your host, Wish Ronquillo Peacock. Have a fantastic day and thanks for listening.